I'm gonna get moments like that when I start vlogging, and you're gonna be doing that shit. I'm gonna put it in the video.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
Nope. Look who's back in town. Who's that? Who's that not looking at the road? About to. Ah! Chris is back in town. This week is gonna be crazy. As you guys know from the last video, we're gonna be starting that 3-rotor up. Today we are at Entice Motorsports to finish up really the last few main parts before we can turn the car over for the first time. We're almost to the finish line, and that starts a whole new chapter of development and driving the car and dialing it in that I cannot wait for. But today we're gonna be finishing up the wiring. I know Richie from Richie Works just has a few more things he needs to test and finish up with that. I'm gonna be putting Dimple Dies in the rear trunk insert. We have Willwood pedals that just came in today, and a big thing that we have to do is move the placement for the hydro so that I can get the seat fitted properly where it needs to be. Right now the seat is hitting the hydro. Hopefully by the end of the day I'll start on fluids, and that means that's one of the last things before we go to start the car. So hopefully we'll be putting fluids in the car by the end of the day and getting really close to starting this thing, maybe this week. No, it has to be.
It has
I keep
to be.
saying maybe because I'm really excited that this moment is here, but it's also like we've been through so much with this car and this build, and we have all worked so hard. I don't know, I'm
just ready to hear how it sounds. I want it to be alive, and I don't have to push it anymore. I'm tired of pushing. I'm tired of pushing.
True. We are really tired of pushing that car. Like, it's gonna be very nice to just turn it on and have it sound incredible, and then it moves itself. Because we're not used to that. We've hauled that thing to and from Vegas for SEMA, pushing it.
Push it throughout the whole SEMA. Like,
throughout the whole SEMA?
Pushed it.
I'll admit, I was one of those people that showed up with a car that doesn't run, but you know what? That's like half a SEMA. There's a news flash for everyone that doesn't know. That's SEMA for you. So we were one of those people this year, last year, and we're not gonna be this year. So we went to Vegas and back. We went to San Diego and back with that car.
Oh my
when we
gosh.
were at OMD Parts installing the angle kit. We've been through some stuff. We've been through a lot with that car, and I'm so excited that we are starting it very soon. So hopefully this will be one of the last major days of prep before start day and dyno day. So let's go check it out. The first assignment that John has for me today is involving Dimple Dies and making the back of the car look really pretty. So I'm excited about that. If you guys have been on this channel for a while, you know that I just love gussets and Dimple Dies and adding them everywhere, especially if you've seen the roll cage, you've known that. So today we're going to be figuring out kind of where we can place Dimple Dies, what do we want for sizing, what do we think is going to look cool, where we want some hard lines that are going to be coming out of this trunk insert here. So just placement and going through the process of doing it. And then this whole back area will be almost complete. John, you got a fancy new Dimple Die kit? Hey. I've actually never used Dimple Die this big before. I think that's gonna look cool. I already picked some out. What I'm thinking right now, just to make it a little more extra, is that I want to use a few different sizes. I think I want to use this really big one, which I feel like on camera it's hard to tell how big this is, but look, there's my hand, so I can tell. So I think I want to use this really big one in that back part, and then have this size on each side, and then just tear it down, so then I'll have the smallest one repeating on each side as well. We're gonna play around with this. We're gonna mess around with different sizes, see what we have room for and what we think is gonna look the best, and just go from there. Let's figure out what we don't do.
Okay, so
Oh, this one might be too big actually, darn it. It's too big for the center. This one's gonna be too big because it'll...
you might be able to get away with it.
It might look weird though, because if the imprint is all the way like to the edge or close, I don't know.
Well, no, you still, because remember, you still have, this is about
Yeah.
half inch on each side,
That's true.
right? So it wouldn't look too bad. And then, so the reason we're gonna dimple die, well, one is to reinforce the sheet metal under it, the aluminum plate. And then two is because we have the radiator back here, so we wanna make sure we have enough cooling, allow air to circulate. If not, you're gonna trap all the hot air in here, and you're just gonna heat some everything. I don't want to do too much because it's gonna look a little tacky.
Hey.
We want to do enough.
We want all the Dimple Dies. Dude, that's gonna look cool.
Yeah, so we could do that.
I like that.
How does it fit on this side? Just want to make sure it's even.
That'll look good.
Yeah, that's what you want to do?
Yeah. So we took the insert out, so now you can see what's going on under here, and this is the bracket that John made. Initially, there was too much taken out, so it lost structural support, but now we got this bracket.
You could feel it kind of like sway as you push in the car. So we added a solid piece. These are not hollow, these are solid all the way through.
Oh, wow.
And it almost acts a little bit as a strut bar. I'm not saying it is a strut bar, but it does add a little bit of reinforcement because it's a solid piece.
Yeah.
And it doesn't allow it to flex, and it's strong enough to push the car from it. So,
Oh my gosh.
it'll support anything.
This is such a cool bracket. God, I love how the fuel cell looks with it too. Sunken in with the cell, and you can see it from the back. Because at first, like, but when I left the cell, we just had it on top because this was, the whole back area was a work in progress. But now seeing it like in a proper, like, dope bracket setup, dropped in from the back, this car looks so intimidating.
The fuel cell support is actually bolted down to the actual frame of the car itself.
Oh,
so
that
we
is...
time-inserted it directly to the frame.
Wow.
It's not gonna go anywhere.
You guys should have seen the one I had in here before. So we decided that we're gonna repeat the Dimple Die design from the front part and repeat it on the back, just for symmetry, and I think it'll look cooler. Oh, look, see, John's with that specific life. Look at him, getting the ruler out, getting exact with us right now. Definitely don't go watch my gusset making video after this. You're not gonna see me getting this precise with it. But now we got John here, that's why we're doing things right now. That's a huge lesson with this car, is you just wanna do it the right way the first time, so you don't end up building the car for years and not driving it. We're gonna be copying that exact pattern and spacing and everything to this side. And I think it's gonna look really cool being symmetrical. Oh, I love Dimple Dies. We have everything mapped out so we know what we're doing. I'm gonna start by just drilling all the pilot holes, and Chris ran to go get some hole saws because we didn't have the exact size here, but I'm gonna get started. To get a little creative in order to fit this one piece on here. We had to take out the middle support bar, and we're gonna try and rig that inside of here and then work with it inside here. I don't know if I'm like explaining that and it makes sense, but you'll see. We're just trying this out. It'll make sense because we want to keep this, if we can, one piece. So, all right, let's see if this works. And go under. Oh, yes, hey, okay, wait.
The thing is,
we'll reach all of these. Yeah. Okay, I think we're good. I think that's gonna work. Yay! We're gonna start with the big one first.
it would make the world stronger, would it not?
Just look at the backside.
It would.
Look, right here, it didn't go flat.
Wow.
Wow, you can see it like.
Yeah, this one's so big. It's
Yeah.
awesome. God, it looks so good. Symmetrical on each side.
Wow, that thing is as big as you though. Yeah, you get that question a lot. Are you tall or are you short? I just have to know.
I do.
Guys, this whole frame.
Guys, I'm short. We are done. Art sanded it down, and now it looks beautiful. So we're gonna put it in the car. Let's go. That looks so good. Man, I want Dimple Dies all over the car. I want them everywhere. That's such a big difference. I love it. Holy crap. That looks so good.
Again, this is just to vent everything.
Yeah.
Like I said, just because it's a race car doesn't mean you can't make it look nice, you know?
Style, venting,
Couple minutes,
strength,
you know.
everything. I love Dimple Dies. Another thing on the to-do list is driver fitment for this car. So this seat is not mounted yet, so we're gonna be working on that. Because I'm getting custom pedals in this car, I'm gonna be able to dial in driver fitment so much better. So I have a set by Willwood, and like I always have this problem in fitting in cars where in order for my feet to reach the pedals, I have to be all the way up on the wheel. So it ends up being really awkward, really uncomfortable, and definitely for this car, like I want to make sure driver fitment is primo. So I knew that I wanted to have floor mounted pedal assembly, and that's what we got. So we have this assembly by Willwood. The third pedal is somewhere around here, but we're gonna be figuring out one, where the seat is gonna be able to fit where exactly we want it, and then from there, mount the pedals and just make sure that I am comfortable. This is cool. I'm really excited actually. I've never had a floor mounted like custom pedal assembly in any of my personal cars. Obviously, you always have stuff like this in the race cars, but never my personal car. So I'm excited to have like such a nice setup on this car. And oh, another like short driver issue that I am used to having is that I have small feet, right? So most of these pedal assemblies are not made for girls or just small people in general. So if you see where the grip tape is and kind of how high and like the pivot point of this, and then see where my foot ends up being, most people's like main part of their foot is way up here for proper leverage. So I usually, in like all the race cars I've driven, I have to have a foot plate, like a foot riser, to get me up at least an inch or two, honestly. Maybe just an inch. Oh yeah, this is way better. Now we completely clear where the hydro is mounted, the seat fits, and you can put the stock bolts in. So now, now we're totally here. Now we just have to figure out where I want to be. Okay, something I'm really bad at on like a daily basis is eating food, and I was wondering why I was just starting to get loopy, and this seat was like the bane of my existence, and it was just so frustrating. And I realized I hadn't eaten since this morning. I went to Starbucks and I had like the ham and cheese croissant, and that is it. And that is why I was royally starting to lose it working on the seat. So I got my WABA, you know, trying to be healthy, living that healthy Cali life. Okay, real talk. The plans have changed. So, spent quite a while trying to fit this seat into the car, and the clearance I was showing you with the hydro, once we had that clearance, one, it was still close, and yes, we can move the hydro over, and that's fine. However, at some point, the seat will also be touching the tunnel. So even with the seat, if we theoretically move the hydro, push the seat over, this guy is still kind of sticking out the window. So I think instead of forcing this to work, kind of still having it not be entirely right, sticking out the window, looking a little bit weird, and then from there, based off this current seat, mounting the pedals and routing everything from there, we decided that we're gonna look for a different seat. This exact seat doesn't need to be in the car to get it running and even to dyno it. I have another seat that will fit in there, and I can just use the stock pedals for now, especially if we're just focused on getting to the dyno, focus on the car running, and then come back to this. And I don't know why it took me like all day to figure that out, but that is the conclusion that we came to, and it makes a lot of sense, and I feel like John's seeing me struggle with that and be annoyed all day. That's just what we decided, so that we can focus on what really matters, which is the car running and getting to the dyno. So that is the plan. I'm actually gonna go get the seat from the Sailor 7 car and put it in for now. I might have another option for the seat that I'm gonna look into tomorrow, but not 100%, so don't want to say it. So it's a little bit of a bummer. The seat is just really big, and already FC chassis, they don't have a lot of room to work with in there. And I was just trying to, just get a halo, but maybe I won't right now, since it won't really be necessary for all like the initial testing and tuning that we're gonna be doing. So that's the plan. So that means that we are no longer putting the seat in our front, like worrying about this seat and getting this perfect. It also means the hydro is fine where it's at now. I'm gonna put my old seat in and not gonna put my new Willwood foot pedal assembly that we got in right now. Sometimes you have days like that. We go down rabbit holes and you have to prioritize and make decisions, especially when like the stuff that we're changing is like completely re-welding where the hydro is and rerouting where we want to put the pedal assembly and all this stuff, that if we are not happy with it now and we're forcing it to work, we have to just change it down the road. So we're gonna pause that, focus on what matters most, getting the car running and getting to the dyno. One other thing we decided to do was put the water pump underneath the car, because it's gonna be routed better, the top's gonna look a lot cleaner, and we're just deciding to do that, and I think it's gonna be for the best anyway. And run 2 lines probably out to the gussets that we made earlier today, and then put the pump underneath here. So I think that's one other change.
We're getting there.
We're close.
We're like a day or 2 away, so.
I know.
We're out of time.
Oh, actually, I don't think I have video of underneath the car. Here we go. Let's just, before we end the night, since there's not going to be much on this video, why don't we just do a little quick tour under? Oh, that's a cool angle. Hold up. There we go. We got that battle arrow wing. We got those new Dimple Dies, our fuel safe cell. It's our air motive pump. 8.8 diff, OS Strike-In, drive shaft shop, axles. Pink subframe that's already needs another paint job, but that's okay. Custom drive shaft, GSR, transmission. These are just more custom mounts that John whipped up. Oh, and my engine mounts too. I don't think I showed you guys those yet. So the neon yellow on the bottom, but on the top of it is like all the flake on the other side of the engine mounts that you can see from the top, but it basically just looks like fairy dust on the other side, which is cool. It's our quick time bell housing adapter. I'm not sure, I didn't show you guys that in the last video. And just so you know, I'm working with action clutch on my clutch here too. I have an awesome twin disc clutch, so I can't wait to try it out. This is our custom baffled oil pan that John did as well. OMD angle kit right there. R1 bid brakes, 326 Shakuriki coilovers, 326 rims, Como tires, dual oil coolers, Mishimoto. Y'all seen the rest in the last video, but just wanted to show you underneath the car. So I think it's pretty cool. But the car is up right now, but John also welded up a few other things today. He tapped where the nitrous is going to go, as well as the temp sensor. So both those things already ready to go. And there was a part on the throttle body. So it's a stock 20B throttle body, and there is a couple parts that we took off and just needed to be welded up so it was sealed. John did that today. What else? Richie was finishing up wiring up the coil pack, getting all the nitrous assembled where it's supposed to be. We got my cool suit also that we're just finalizing in the car. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, we got the belt on for the alternator, so that looks super legit now. And that's awesome to see, because that was a huge project in itself. I mean, just one, relocating it, and then we couldn't use like the normal aftermarket relocation brackets that are on the market for this because of where the external oil tapped fitting goes. So that was in the way. So we had to use like a partial bracket from something and then use another bracket that we created and combine those two, and boom, there we go. We got our new beefy alternator, and there's a belt on it, so that's exciting to see, because that was not easy. Luckily, we have a friend close by that can machine like anything, so we've been able to do that quite a few times for little pieces that we've needed for this car, and little like bumps on the road that we run into. We end up having to hit him up. Luckily, he's like right down the street. We're making progress. I felt like I was going crazy today because I was trying to mess with that seat and make it work and force it to work. And yeah, probably should have called it earlier than I did, but you know what? Sometimes you have days like that and you just gotta accept it. We're close. We're getting very close. So close to hearing the most majestic 3-rotor noises ever. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
What in the world is going on?